So today I'm going over installing a hard drive um, and following a sequence of steps. One would be power down your PC and unplug it. And then usually after you unplug it, you want to hold the power button for a few seconds, let everything discharge. Step 2, you want to make sure you're grounded to prevent electric static discharge, or ESD. Step 3, set jumper settings for the drive when appropriate. That's usually for like PATA, if you would have a PATA drive. Most drives used today are SATA. Step 4 would be install the drive into a case or a bracket in your PC. And then step 5 would be connect power and data cables to hard drive and motherboard or power supply. After installing the drive, follow these steps. You'd want to turn your PC on. Step 2, you'd enter the CMOS or BIOS setup utility. Set up / prioritize your new hard drive. And 3, partitioning and formatting the drive using Windows Disk Management. Connections for hard drives, PATA, SATA, SCSI connections, or external hard drives, eSATA, USB, or FireWire. And we talked about these a little bit in the past in earlier videos. For upgrading the drive, I actually was just learning about how you would clone a drive, and so they have easy kits you can buy in the store now. You would just buy a drive enclosure, and you put your new drive that you'd want. Maybe you would want to upgrade to an SSD drive, and so you put your SSD drive into the drive enclosure, and then that would hook up usually through a USB to your computer, and then you would use a software, some kind of cloning software like EasyGig or any other cloning software that you might find. A good place to find the cloning software would be download.com on CNET. So it'd be pretty easy. You just hook that up, open the software, clone your hard drive that you have now, so it saves all the data on your operating system, and then all you have to do is take your new hard drive and replace it with your old hard drive, and you're good to go, just like you were before. But now you have a faster hard drive, or more space, depending on what you choose for hard drives. You can also use RAID to connect multiple hard drives for either increased performance and or redundancy. It's always good to have a backup if you're able to. So there's a couple different types of RAID. RAID 0, which is striping. RAID 1, which is mirroring. RAID 5, which is striping with parity. And RAID 10, which is RAID 1 plus 0, is able to create striping with mirroring. And there's two different types of RAID. There's software RAID, and then there's hardware RAID. So let's just go in and take a little bit of a look. We were talking about SATA, PATA, or SCSI cables, and you can kind of see some of the PATA and SATA cables, and SCSI is very similar to the way a PATA cable looks, but a little bigger. So you want to look at installing a hard drive, and different pictures of hard drives and how they would go into the enclosure. So look at a picture here. Doesn't seem to want to load up. Oh, there we go. Nope. Oh, we had one. So your hard drive would go into the PC enclosure, and you would screw in a few screws onto the side into the brackets, and then you're good to go. And then you hook up your power cable, your SATA cable, to the hard drive and or the power outlet or the power supply. So That's for the hard drives that we were just talking about. Those are the cables, and now we're talking about RAID. And so RAID 1, as you can see here, is mirroring. Mirroring is just making an exact copy, exact duplicate of your hard drive for redundancy, for backup. So if one hard drive fails, you have a backup. So you could do this at home, you can do this with in businesses. So it's very helpful. We could take a look at RAID 0 next. Let's type this in here. Going to the top, type it in. So so with RAID 0 we have mirroring, and you have to have at least 2 disks, and it's saving data, a little bit of data on each disk, and the more disks you have, it'll save parts of data onto different disks. We can go to next. We'll take a look at RAID 5. And 0, 1, 5, and 10 are what you need to know for the compTIA A+ test. So look at RAID 5. There we have striping with parity. And you can kind of see you have 4 different hard drives, and saving a bit of information on each of the hard drives. So it's making a copy, and if one drive fails, then you can have a partial backup for that drive so it can rebuild itself. And then we can look at we'll look at RAID 10. Like I was saying, the best place to go to learn about the A+ certifications and all of the tests would be to go to freeaplus.com or professormesser.com. They're both the same location, and James Messer, he does a great job at taking you through all of the requirements in the A+, and some great videos as well. So we'll look at RAID 10, or 0 plus 1, and it's just making a duplicate, but it's also adding parity there to create backups as well. Okay, mirroring with that. So that's all for the ahead in installing hard drives and after you install them, and a little bit about RAID for the A+ certification that was in the information today. So thank you.